So this first example here is a riff that I wanted to build so I could work on convergence of techniques that I've been working on. The first of those techniques was a sequence of fourths through a G major 7 arpeggio. So I'll show you that very slowly, and then we'll go on to the next part. And then it proceeds to kind of turn itself around with a little bit of the G major scale, which is just... And then we go into a C major sweep second inversion, and then a root C major inversion, turned around with a bit of the G major scale, and then descending picked scale, and then an E minor arpeggio, second inversion, through 3 octaves down to the 7th string. So one of the questions that I get a lot is how to develop your right hand to do some of these multiple note techniques. And the first thing I'll tell people is just look at what you did with your left hand. Because a lot of times, even now, my right hand's still developing and still learning. If I have something that I can't get right, I'll watch my left hand do it and try and imitate it with my right hand. So for simple things, such as scales and stuff like that, I always run those with my left hand, and then I'll kind of see what's going on there, and then I'll run it with my right hand as well. So that's what I'll do, and it started off with simple things like pentatonics, and then developed into, more of your 3-note per string scales, and then the arpeggios and stuff, and now just for fun, I'll try and play some of the solos that I do with my right hand, but it's not quite there yet on its own. So one of the things that enables me to do some of my right hand techniques is this pick clip that I developed and patented, and hopefully we'll be able to get it to anybody that might want it fairly soon. It started from the idea that I needed to maintain contact with the pick while I would open up my hand for the right hand tapping stuff. And so for the longest time I tried gluing a rubber band to the pick and then putting that around, but that would always wear out with the pinch harmonics and stuff like that. So I had to come up with another idea, and thumb picks themselves, traditional thumb picks, were way too long, and even when you cut them down to be the right length, the angle on them was just wrong for me. So I wanted something where any pick that I wanted to use, I could attach to my thumb, and this was the solution. So now with my Sharpie picks, I can keep them attached to my thumb and do all the two-handed stuff that I like to do. And yeah, it just makes things easier. It also, if you want, do any of that finger picking stuff too, it works very well. So any of that kind of stuff will work out really well. So when you pick it up from the G major 7, and then go into that C major sweep, that's how I use a little bit of slurring to give myself time to plant my hand. So like that with this pick. Another good example is the, actually probably going from the, so you lead from a pick to the, yeah. So again, it's just a lot of times it's about giving yourself a little bit of time to replace the hand, but it really doesn't require much. So my playing, I wouldn't say it was totally inspired by the pick clip, but a couple of years ago, my playing was just throw everything you had at the guitar to try and make something happen. I was all an arm picker. And it was just like, I noticed one day that the whole guitar is like vibrating when I'm trying to do this scale, and I'm just like, that's way too much effort to be throwing at the instrument. So I worked really hard on adjusting my picking to more of a wrist-based, rotational-based kind of picking. And this this pick clip actually helps keep me in line. It helps keep my hand more relaxed in a stable position against the string. So as I play through it, I think, you know, a lot of people will think that it feels very differently when they first put it on, but if you give it a little time, you'll find that it actually will allow you to relax a little bit more against the strings. It feels very comfortable to go back and forth between finger picking and tapping or whatever. There's you know, to me, I don't feel like there's a total change in technique. I think like you might sometimes, like if you were clutching into a pick and doing some tapping, and you know, some people will try and do the multiple finger taps while holding a pick. And to me, that feels like instantly everything changes, you know, and you're having to exert effort here when, you know, the natural tendency of the hand is to have every finger conform. And so once you're exerting tension here, you have to counter that here with what you're doing on the fretboard. So to me, that's a big plus of this idea.